Hi guys, Ian here, back for another video. So today Prash is not with me, but I'm here to do another video on instant photography. So inspired by his i2 purchase, I also purchased an instant camera for myself. So this is my first or rather second instant camera. So this is the Mint TL70 Plus. So this is a rather new camera. It's a TLR camera and it uses Instax square film. So today I'll be just walking around to shoot some scenery and we'll see how accurate the exposure is. I'm not going to go full into manual, I'm just going to do auto and see how this thing works and exposes for a newbie photographer. I'm not exactly a newbie photographer, but I'm definitely new to instant film. So instant film is rather sensitive compared to analog film, your 35mm. So let's see what results I get with it on auto mode. Okay, so just a brief introduction to the camera. So this is the TL70 Plus. It's a twin lens reflex, so that means it has two lenses. Let's open it. So this lens is used to take the photo and this lens is used to focus and frame your image. And you look inside here and you can see me. You turn the knob here and it focuses. It also has a built-in flash, so it's quite cool that this thing pops up. So we're not going to use the flash today because it's really bright out now. And it has a full manual function, so you can adjust the aperture by rotating this dial. So it goes from f5.6 to f22. 5.6 is equivalent to about 2.8-ish or 35mm. So that's quite okay for depth of field and low light capability. Another thing is that the shutter is over here. You can adjust. It has auto, auto plus 1, auto minus 1, one stop. And also it goes from bulb to 1/500. So this is a bit faster than the Polaroid cameras. Okay, so it uses Instax square film. So Instax square is a little bit smaller than your regular Polaroid square frame size. This is more akin to the medium format film size. So we just load it in. So nice big lens over there. So the yellow mark goes up and just push it in and just close it. So there's an indicator over here. This indicator would tell you that there's a film loader inside and do not open the back unless it's run out. And then you got to eject the dark slide. So let's eject the dark slide. So this one shows you the remaining film. So it's a film counter showing you the shots remaining. So now it's C, which means it's the cover slide. So you press this button to eject. So it ejects the dark slide. It doesn't do it automatically, so remember to press. Okay, and we are good to go. So to take photos, we press this button, half press meters when you half press, and then you press it all the way down to take the photo. So there's a little screen inside, I'm not sure you can see. So the screen inside actually shows you the shutter speed and aperture if you're on manual, or it shows you the ND filter recommendation if you are using it on auto mode. So let's go get some shots. Okay, so I just went out to the park and the weather seems to be slightly cloudy. So the light is not so harsh, so I guess it will make my life easier for today's photography. So for the first shot, I'm going to try to get this shot. It's a bit backlit, so I want to get the live buoy here. Okay, so it recommended an ND8 at 5.6. I didn't see the recommendation, so I just took the shot anyway. Let's see what comes out. So it was a bit backlit, so it might actually expose the live buoy correctly. But we won't know until a few minutes later. Okay, so we're going to try some landscape next. So this is a bridge across a river. Okay, so I metered the scene using the camera. So I half pressed it and looked in the screen over there. So it asked for ND4 at f8. So it's on auto mode for shutter. So I'm just going to put on the ND4 and then I'm going to take the shot and see what it looks like. So with TLRs, it's a bit hard to focus. So you need to use this flip-up magnifier to get the exact focus. If you're shooting on high f-stops and out far away, it doesn't really matter. But if you're doing a close-up, because this can focus down to I think 0.6 meters, you definitely need to use the magnifier on the ground glass to see it properly. Okay, so now we're here at some plants. I'm going to try to get a medium close-up of these plants. So I'm going to try the minimal focus distance and see how it goes. Okay, so I took this photo on auto exposure at 5.6. So focusing was a little bit tough because as you move in and out a little bit and in the funny position, it's easy to lose the focus. So had to use this magnifying thing to get the focus nailed down. Okay, so as you can see, it's a bit overcast now. So the Instax film, I realized, is really balanced for a very sunny day. And if you take a photo at golden hour, it's fantastic. But now the photos may turn out a little bit bluish because it's overcast and the sun is not so direct anymore. Alright, so now for another shot. Now we're closer to the bridge, so we'll try and get a bridge shot, maybe like this. Then let's see how it turns out. Okay, so I'm gonna take it slow. I'm gonna just meter the shot first and then see if it asks for any ND based on the aperture that I've selected. Okay, so I didn't choose to put any NDs this round. I just stopped it down to f16 and it managed to get the shot. So if I were to use maybe f8 or if I just open it up to f5.6, I have to put an ND on. Yeah, so it just behaves like a aperture priority camera, meaning that you set your aperture and the shutter speed is automatically selected for you. And it gives you a recommendation for ND if it finds the scene is too bright and it exceeds the shutter speed limitation. So if it needs to go to like 1/1000, obviously it can't, so it will give you a one-stop ND recommendation. Then you just put it on and then you just take the shot. So the metering is quite interesting. The metering actually works based on this little sensor here, I think. So it doesn't go through the lens, so it just gives you an indication on the screen. So we'll show you as I take another shot, yeah, how the screen looks. Okay, so another tip, once you take your shot and if you don't want to do a multiple exposure, right, you should eject the film because it doesn't say how many multiple exposures you have taken. So if you forget to eject the film now and you take another shot, then it's probably gone if you didn't intend for it to be a multiple exposure. Okay, so this might be a bit of a difficult shot for the camera, but we'll try nonetheless. So I'm going to try and shoot down this canal and then let's see how it does. So I'm going to set up here, then I'm going to show you how I'm going to get a shot. I'm going to try to mount it on a tripod. So I don't know how to mount it because it's a small tripod. Okay, so this is an interesting tripod. It's a Leofoto MT-03, I think. Oh, it's MT-04. So somehow I managed to rig it on the railing. Okay, so this is what you see from inside. So we got here a really nice and bright screen for focusing. So this is minimum focus and this is infinity. So the little screen is the thing that tells you what f-stop you're at and whether you're on auto or what's your shutter speed. So now it's requesting for ND2, which is a one-stop. But I'm just going to take the photo anyway because I want to make it a bit brighter. Because I'm afraid that this might actually underexpose because the sun is coming directly here. So it's a bit of a difficult situation when the sun shines directly on the metering sensor. So let's try it out. Okay, so I guess the beauty of shooting instant is that if you are confused on whether you're gonna get the correct exposure, you can just take a shot and then just wait a while and then you can see and evaluate whether you need to change the settings or it's fine. Okay, so the screen for focusing is quite bright. You can see I am like 2 stops overexposed here in the video, but I'm not going to change the exposure and you can see for yourself. Okay, so now that we're back, I can take a proper look at the photos, so let's have a look at them. So for the first photo is the live buoy, so you can see it was a backlit scene. The camera wanted ND8, which is a 3-stop ND. I decided not to put the ND on, so this was what came out. I thought it was okay exposed. The back was, of course, the background blown out, but as expected, because it was backlit, okay exposed. I would say I might want it a bit brighter, but the trouble with this Instax film is that I noticed if you make it even brighter, the areas that are blown out will actually bleed into the areas that are not blown out. So there's this patch going on there. So you get that when the area is too overexposed. Okay, so this is the next one at the bridge. So this one I just followed whatever the camera wanted. Yeah, so it wanted an ND, so I put on an ND and it left it on auto. So this is what came out. I would say this is a very good and proper exposure for auto setting. The sky is still retaining some details. Although if I were to expose manually, I might bump it up by maybe like a third of a stop just to get a little bit more shadow details. But I understand that I think the camera wants to retain some of the sky highlights in the bright areas. So I guess this was quite okay. No complaints here. Okay, so this one is the picture of the plants. I was very satisfied with this. The exposure turned out really well. The focusing also was spot on. So this is what a good Instax photo can actually look like if you have a decent camera with a glass lens. So for this one, the focusing was a bit of a challenge because I was in a strange position. So when you move in and out, even slightly, some areas will get out of focus because the depth of field, this was taken at 5.6, is actually quite shallow. As is a medium format size, it's not your small APS-C or 35mm. So even at 5.6, the equivalent is maybe 2.8, 2.9, that kind on a 35mm. So it's quite sensitive to your movement as you're taking the shot. Okay, so this is the bridge one that we took. So this one I didn't use any ND at all. So the camera just decided that it didn't need ND, so we just exposed it on auto mode. I thought that this was quite a good exposure. As usual, it exposed for the sky and still retained some shadow detail. Personally, I would bump it up by maybe a third of a stop. But for auto, this is what I guess Instax camera would do in this kind of lighting condition. Okay, so this is the final shot. So I really like this shot a lot. So this was the one we took at the canal. This shot actually needed a one stop ND, so it was an ND2. But I chose not to put any ND on because I knew that I was shooting into the light and the camera sensor might be confused slightly. So yeah, we just took this shot and I hope for the best. So in the end, it came out okay, so I didn't have to redo the shot and adjust the exposure accordingly. So this one was one stop underexposed. So this was evening, so the sun wasn't that harsh. Yeah, so this was quite nice. If you were to put the ND on, I guess the sky will have more details, but you lose a lot of details in the buildings. So this was exactly what I wanted, more details in the building. So yeah, I'm happy with this. Okay, so this is a bonus shot that wasn't taken on that day, but I just thought it'd be good to edit in. So this one is a picture taken with my friend's SF70 from Mint also. So it's a rangefinder for Instax Square. So you can see that this one is the sharpness target that we have used in the past. So I have set up both cameras at the same distance and just took a picture of this. This is the SF70. And then for the next shot, this is the TL70 Plus. So as you can see from the same distance, the lens is slightly wider. However, it looks way sharper. So I guess in part the sharpness is due to how we can focus the TLR versus the rangefinder. The rangefinder, I felt, in my opinion, is not so easy to focus as the TLR, where you can slowly take your time and get most of the shot in focus. Whereas with the rangefinder, you got to fiddle around with the little viewfinder and then align the images so that it's focused. But I don't know whether it's a little bit off or whether the lens is a bit soft. So yeah, you be the judge. So I hope you like these videos. We're gonna test the cameras more in detail. We have the SF70, the square, and also this TL70 Plus, and maybe we can test it with the Polaroid i2 again. So stay tuned and please like, subscribe, and support us for more of these photography shenanigans. Bye bye.